Welcome to a new list. It's a tier list for the Hitman Trilogy location. I want to rank them on how good they are. So, without further ado, this is the tier list, the real list of Hitman locations, the new trilogy, obviously. All right, let's start with the Ica Facility. Okay, the Ica Facility is actually pretty good for a tutorial level, so I'm gonna give it a B. It doesn't have a lot of it's a C. It's a tutorial level. It has a lot of freedom, but it doesn't have a lot of specialness to it, you know? It doesn't have a lot of interesting things because again, it's a facility. It's a tutorial. But Paris, the next one. Paris, I think it's easily A tier. It's like it's the first real level of the trilogy. And they fucking nailed it. They nailed everything. From the aesthetic, from the disguises, and from the just looking at the level. The challenges. And yeah, that's about all I can say. There's, fireworks. You can use the chandeliers, obviously. You can become a model, which is pretty cool. And there's just a lot of things. And that's where I got my first, walking in front of the new story camera. It's pretty good. Now, the next one. I know a lot of people like it. I also like it. Sapienza. I think this is just this is just the epitome of Hitman. It's just so great. It has a big map. It has a lot of creativity. A lot of people doesn't like the secondary objective, like the Wryl, but I think it's actually pretty cool. And the kills are pretty great. You can kill someone with a stalactite. You can escape through a lot of shit. Same with Paris. But I think what separates this from Paris on how good it is just it's so big. That's what she said. It's so dense as well, right? It has interesting things in any part of the map. You can go to a news reporter, or is that a detective? Anyway, there's a lot of mission opportunities. That's what they like to call them, which technically I don't really like. The mission stories, because it's more of a tutorial thing. It's a hand-holdy way to play Hitman, but I think it's a great addition to Hitman to do that, to introduce them to the level. But yeah, that's about it. I think it's good. Now, Marrakesh. Marrakesh is also pretty dense, but a lot of them, I think Marrakesh is gonna be a B. Marrakesh is, I think the biggest problem of Marrakesh is it comes after Sapienza, and that's why it gets a bad rap. But I think it's a pretty okay map. There's an underground facility, there's meetings, I think it's cool on who you are trying to kill. I think the targets are very cool because one of them is a general, if I remember correctly, and one of them is a CEO or something. I don't care about who they are. I just want to kill people. And that's basically Hitman. You kill people. I don't care. I like to kill people in the toilet. That's it. That's Hitman. I don't need a story. I don't need a pretense on why do I need to do this. I just want to do it, But I think the Marrakesh people, the Marrakesh target, are pretty good. And it has cool disguises as well. Now, Bangkok. By the way, I've played everything on Master Sasso run. So I think these are all good for Master Sasso run. And Bangkok as well. Bangkok, I think it's better than Marrakesh. But I don't think it's on Paris level. I think the hotel is pretty good. And the way you want to kill people, inspecting a motorcycle or just sniping them, which is actually has a good sniping spot for both of them. And the band members become a band member. I think there's a lot of cool mission stories as well, and cool disguises. You want to be a #1 fan or a stalker fan, you can do that. I think one of the biggest problem of Bangkok is I can't actually think of one. I think Bangkok is just well designed as a place, you know. But when you go upstairs, it's basically a military zone, which is weird. You know, like the band is up there, you can't go here, which makes sense because you know it's a rock star. You're gonna kill a rock star. But I really like the killing the rock star in his own apartment, or confronting him with the truth about his ex. But the main thing is, it's a good level. It's not bad. The same cannot be said for Colorado. Colorado, I think, is a good level. It's, don't get me wrong, if you are not doing a Sasso run, if you're doing disguises, it's fine. It's actually a fine one. But when you're doing a suit only run, there's no safe spot for you. So I think it's gonna be a D. I don't want to put it in the ICA facility. Maybe below C. The tippy bottom of of C. Because I don't want to put it on D because it's not that bad. And not everyone is playing on Sasso Run Master. So I think it's not that bad. But if you are playing on Sasso runs or suit only runs as well, it's bad because there's literally an open field. It's literally an open field and you have like 4 or 3 targets, and it's really, really bad if you're doing a Sasso run because it's basically become a stealth game rather than a Hitman game. A lot of people think that Hitman is a stealth game. It's not. It's a Hitman game. You know what I mean? Like, if you are a fan of Hitman, you know what I mean. It's a sandbox. It's a Hitman game. All right, next, Hokkaido. I think Hokkaido is, it's S. It's S. Why? Because it's so cool. They introduce a mechanic here, which is your key to a door is based on a disguise, and that's pretty fucking cool. And doing that on Sasso is pretty fucking good. You have to drag a body that has the costume that you need. You can do that. So it's not impossible for Sasso runs. It's just more complicated. And I think Hokkaido is also well designed. And also, the disguises are pretty cool. And the kills are pretty cool. You know, the yoga poses, the sushi, which is a classic, and the operational table, and you, or poisoning just soders. I don't even see soders. I don't even see soders. Every time I do it, I just do the whole heart thing. I just sabotage the heart. Okay, Hokkaido is pretty good. It also have a good DLC thing, which is Patient Zero, which is totally COVID, just COVID. You just kill COVID people because they infect other people. And if you just infect everybody, you can just kill everybody and get a silent assassin. But anyway, that's Hokkaido. It's a pretty good map. It's a great map. Now, Hawke's Bay. Hawke's Bay is a tutorial map, which is actually has less potential than the ICA facility. But I think it's a better map all in all because it just looks good. Yeah, it just looks better than the ICA facility because the ICA facility is a make-believe boat, right? It's a setup. It's a Hollywood setup of a make-believe boat, which gives me to a point like, why are there no Hollywood map yet, right? Hollywood map or Los Angeles map in Hollywood is gonna be great. Kill actors and shit. Now, this is the meat of Hitman 2 is Miami. Miami is pretty A tier. Miami has a great characters, great targets, and this is the birth of the Florida man. This is the birth of the fish. All right, the Florida man disguise, which shows up actually in Berlin, which I haven't seen, but I've been told that Florida man is in Berlin. I'm gonna find that son of a bitch and become the Florida man again. Florida man rises. All right. Anyway, Miami is really good. It has a lot of creative kills as well. Shooting the car that the lady was driving in, or sabotaging it, or sabotaging the throne, not the throne, the winning platform, the first, second, third. I said third. The first, second, third platform, which, you know, people pop a champagne for. I don't know what they're called. I just call them winner's platform. And also the flamingo suit, which is fucking great. Okay, that's pretty good. If you have to introduce Hitman to anybody, just put them in Paris and Miami. Now, Santa Fortuna. I don't think it's a bad one. I think it's just top B. It's not. It's because it's very segmented, right? I don't like that it's very segmented. The feeling is very segmented, that there's a cocaine farm. Is that a cocaine farm or a... I forgot the drugs that they're doing there. And then the, you know, drug packaging plant, the mansion, and the city itself. It's very segmented, and I don't like that. It feels very, well, segmented. But the targets are pretty cool. How to kill them are pretty cool. You know, poison the cocaine. Throw them to a fucking hippo, right? I think it's a hippo, not an alligator. You can kill them as a tattoo artist or a hippie. And you can throw them, the three of them, to a hippo. Just get the band back together and throw a fucking statue at the three of them or two of them. It doesn't have a lot of costumes, or not costume. It doesn't have a lot of joke disguises, which I really like, because I mean, I love walking around like a fucking clown, which we'll talk about later in Middleton Creek. But yeah, it doesn't have a lot of great disguises. That's just... maybe the hippie one is pretty good, but that's about it. The next one is Mumbai. I think Mumbai is A. It's fucking A. Mumbai. I think my playthrough of Mumbai the first time is I just accidentally killed the Maelstrom without actually knowing who he is. I just shot a guy because he pisses me the fuck off, because he keeps noticing me, or noticing that I'm strangling one guy. So I just killed him out of frustration. And Diana jokes, "Oh, good job, 47. That's the Maelstrom." Which was pretty good. And that's what I think, that was a pretty cool mechanic where you don't know who he is. And yeah, it's pretty great. And his appearance changes, by the way. The Maelstrom's appearance changes. And yeah, it's pretty great. They dumbed that down to Berlin, but I think Berlin's gonna be great, but we'll talk about that later. And also, you can be a tape measurer. You can be an actor. Dawood Rangan is there, which is a fucking asshole, which needs to be cool. Oh, right. This is like a Hollywood shit. No, it's a Bollywood. It's a Bollywood thing. That's why I'm thinking why there isn't any Hollywood shit. I think Bollywood was great, but it's just not enough to be a side piece, right? Man, there's a lot of accidents waiting to happen in Hollywood. Which reminds me of the blood money fake gun thing. Like, it's just chef's kiss. You replace the fake prop gun with a real gun, and that kills your target, and the other target start running down the theater. You shoot the chandelier comes down, and they're dead. Boom. That's blood money, by the way. You should play it. Anyway, let's move on. Wryllevo Creek is it's more of a homage to a blood money mission, which is A New Life, right? A New Life is just also a great Hitman. That's where the clown were actually the first clown this guy's was on. But I think the homage is never gonna live up to what it's homaging, you know? That's just how it is. So it's not bottom B. So I think it's gonna be... yeah, I think Wryllevo Creek is just not as good as Santa Fortuna. And I think them trying to do the whole New Life thing again is very, very not good. It works against itself more than it does help it, you know? But I do like the clown costume and the blueberries and the side plot of the blueberry lady. Like, what the fuck is in her basement? Where there's an incinerator, a meth lab, or I don't know. All right, the Isle of Seagal. Steven Seagal. I think it's a top. I don't think it's A though. I don't. I think it's B. Not as good as Santa Fortuna. Better than Wryllevo Creek. And especially Wryllevo Creek has a fucking annoying side quest or side objective, which you gotta collect 3 evidence or some shit. And I don't like that because it's not optional. if I recall correctly. If it is optional, I'm dumb. I think Isle of Sigil is a pretty good one because it's more of a secret society thing, and there's a lot of cool disguises. No joke disguises that I can remember, but I think the kills are just pretty bland. I don't know. I think the kills are just pretty bland on the mission story thing. That, yeah, it's such a good level though. So it's such a good level design, which has a penthouse and thing, and the side objectives is optional. Gray can do that, so you don't have to worry about the constant. That's all I have to say to the Isle of Sigil. Not gonna complain, but not gonna sing it praises. New York. I think New York is pretty good, but it's pretty short. You only need to kill one person, right? You only need to kill one person, right? Yeah, I think you only need to kill the bank manager. Yeah, I think that's New York right there. The middle of Whittleton and Isle of Sigil. But there's a side objective there. That's right. There's a side objective that has 3 pieces, or 1 if you heist it. And I think the heist was pretty cool as well. And there's a good costume of being a robbery guy. Robber man? What do you call that? A robber. Just a robber. Not a robbery guy. A robber. Just a robber. Bank robber. There we go. Yeah. I think that's actually a pretty good disguise. Next, The Last Resort, Haven Island. I think Haven Island was actually pretty good. And as a DLC as well. It's a pretty good DLC. It has cool kills. Don't get me wrong. And it has, you know, the level of the underground level, the lab or server room. There's a lot of things here that I actually haven't discovered. That's all I can say about Haven Island, though. Which doesn't sound like a lot of praises. But I remember enjoying it a lot. You can massage people. That's right. And then break their neck. And then what else? You know, the jet ski. I know that. And then the cinema or home theater. Yeah, that's about Haven Island. I think it's pretty good. I don't remember a lot because I don't actually do a lot of mission stories. I always do Silent Assassin, then Silent Assassin suit only, because I enjoy it a lot more. But if you're just faffing around, I think Silent Assassin with costumes are pretty... I keep calling them costumes. They're not costumes, they're disguises. We are sophisticated hitmen. We don't wear costumes. Next, Dubai. Dubai is pretty fresh on the memory, which probably work for it. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I think Dubai is just top B. That's it. I know a lot of people like Dubai, but I think Dubai is just top B. It's not that cool. I think it's more of a Hitman 3 thing that they are just, I don't know. They have big... Oh, okay, I'm just gonna rant on Hitman 3 for a little bit here. Hitman 3, I feel like they are going to the absolution path again, which... Listen to my stories, guys. Listen to what I'm writing. Read it. This story is pretty cool, dude. Like, I know you work on it. I know that, but it was good on Hitman 1 and 2 because they take a back seat. But when you put the story again in the forefront, it's just, it ruins it. It doesn't ruin a lot of Dubai because it's not that important. It's only like one kill, which is the meeting one. Dubai is good, but not as good as these things. This is Hitman at its finest. Which would be ironic because I think I would put Dartmoor here better than Haven Island. Dartmoor is pretty good as long as you don't use the default starting area. Why? Because if you use the default starting area, you cannot exit the way you want it to. They always want you to exit through the motorcycle because story. Because there's a dialogue of Lucas Gray getting shot and killed. Shut the fuck up. Nobody cares about spoilers. And also, why are you watching this if you haven't played Hitman 3? Anyway, I fucking hate that shit. I could have gotten away quicker. I had the Husky, but I can't do that because you want me to hear Lucas Gray shooting a bunch of people. I don't give a shit. I just don't. right? If you want us to care about it, don't force us to care about it, because that's just gonna force resentment. Don't fall into the absolution trap, for which I am foreshadowing right now. Anyway, I think Dartmoor is just so good. Like the Knives Out feeling, the, well, side quest. Well, it's not really a side quest. Okay, hear me out. I do like the detective mission story. I do like it. But at the end of the day, when all said is done, it's just a go here, take a picture. That's what the investigation is. Get all this evidence, even though halfway through, you already know who did it. You can't just go, oh, I already completed it. I'm not an idiot. I know it's Emma. Spoiler alert. I know it's Emma. Why can't I say it? I don't need more evidence. It could have done so much more. But yeah, the atmosphere of the Dartmoor is so good. That's why it's on A, not on B. It's still a pretty cool map. Don't get me wrong. Berlin. Berlin is an S with a caveat. As long as you don't start in the starting position, it's actually a good map. Right? Well, it's still a good map if you're starting on the story starting point, but you just gotta go through 2 different cutscenes, I think. I think you're gonna go through the car cutscene and then the club cutscene, right? But I think the targets are pretty fucking great. The whole Miami thing, which they dumbed down, everybody has the same appearance, unlike, in Mumbai where Maelstrom changes to another person, right? But Berlin, the agents are set in stone. It's still a pretty cool mission. You have to hunt down ICA assassins, which are pretty good. They're wearing disguises as well. If actually they sort of mix the randomization of Mumbai to Berlin's assassin, I think it's gonna be my top one. But they didn't. Maybe not to confuse people. But yeah, I think Berlin is so good. All right, Chongqing. I played this mission and I mentioned Cyberpunk and it started bugging out on me. People walking through doors, sitting through walls. Chongqing has a lot of bugs when I played. And if you watch the speedrun of it, there's actually a muffin skip. But yeah, I think it's a solid B. It's a solid B. As a secondary objective, which would have been annoying if it's not optional on your subsequent playthrough, which it was after, the mission story. As long as you don't start on the mission's starting location, you're gonna be fine. It's not gonna be, I think it's not gonna be required. It's a cool location, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't have the same impact as Hokkaido, because they just do the whole hacking thing. Use your phone to hack this door or vent. Well, okay then. The phone is not a good addition. I don't think it was a good addition. Not gonna lie. The phone is just, it's a lockpick. It's a long-range lockpick that you don't have to unlock. You don't have to pick it up or smuggle it into a level. It's just you have this. You have the power to unlock things. Hokkaido had it best on how to prevent lockpicks. They didn't do that in Chongqing. Am I mispronouncing Chongqing? I'm probably mispronouncing it. I like him big. I like him chunky. The phone does a lot more harm than good. Okay, Mendoza. I think Mendoza is... Alright, let's move on to Mendoza. I think Mendoza is pretty good. I think it's top A. What the fuck? Oh. There we go. I think Mendoza is top A. I think I like it. I like it a lot, as long as you don't start as a default starting location because of the cutscene again. see where I'm going with this? Yeah, that's the biggest problem with Hitman again. Hitman 3 is that they are forcing you to do these stories on the first playthrough. Like, no, I don't want to, because I don't really care. I'm pretty sure you work hard on it, but again, don't force feed it to people. People like the story of Hitman. They do. Nobody wants that. All right, Mendoza. I think Mendoza has great kills, actually. The winery kills is pretty great. It's very, very imaginative, very Hitmanish. The whole accidental kills. And if you did not start at the starting location, you can exit on a lot of places. Don't force me to dance with Diana. It's a pretty cool exit. But if that's the only exit that I have, it doesn't make any goddamn sense. Anyway, and especially it reminds me of the other mission in Blood Money, which is the retirement. I think the winery is pretty cool. I like wine. But yeah, I think Mendoza is a pretty good level overall. And your secondary objective is not let Diana die. Or do not assassinate Diana Burnwood. that's your secondary mission. Do not kill people. Now, we're gonna talk about Romania. There you go. There's Romania. What the fuck?